Your ancestors were the weakest, slowest, most defenseless animal in a world built to kill them. No claws, no fangs, no speed, and yet you're here reading this, and every single thing that hunted them is extinct. Here's how they won a war they had no business winning. 200,000 years ago, a human wasn't the apex predator. A human was lunch. Picture the African savanna at dusk. The grass is chest high, the heat is finally breaking, and somewhere in that grass, something is watching you with better night vision, sharper teeth, and 4 legs built for a 40 miles per hour sprint you could never match. This wasn't rare. This was every single day. The evidence is written directly onto our bones. In the Sterkfontein caves of South Africa, paleontologists found the skull of a young hominid with 2 puncture wounds, spaced exactly the width of a leopard's lower canines. Not a guess, a measurement. That child died the way a gazelle died, and leopards were the least of it. Machairodus, an earlier saber-toothed relative, roamed with 8-inch canines built to open the throat of an animal 10 times its size. The American lion, larger than any lion alive today, stalked in coalitions. Pack-hunting hyenas with a bite strong enough to crack femurs like twigs moved in numbers that could strip a carcass or a person in minutes. And in the skies and on the ground of ancient Australia, marsupial lions and giant monitor lizards, the length of a car waited for anything slow enough to catch. We were slow enough. We had no retractable claws, no venom, no armor. Our biggest weapon was a fingernail. By every rule evolution usually follows, we should have been a footnote, a brief, awkward species that didn't make it out of the Pleistocene. But something happened that had never happened before in the history of predator and prey. The turning point wasn't a claw or a fang, it was a flame. At Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa, researchers uncovered ash and burned bone dated to roughly 1 million years ago, some of the earliest solid evidence of controlled fire. And once early humans controlled it, the entire balance of power shifted. Fire didn't just produce heat, it produced territory. Predators are wired at a level deeper than learned behavior to avoid open flame. A ring of firelight became the first safe zone any human had ever stood in without watching the darkness for movement. That safety bought something more valuable than warmth. It bought hours. Before fire, night meant stillness, silence, hiding. After fire, night became usable time. Time to repair a spear, time to talk, time to think. And fire changed our bodies too. Cooked food breaks down easier than raw food, releasing more usable energy from the same meal. More energy meant surplus. Surplus meant a body could afford to grow something as metabolically expensive as a bigger brain. The flame that kept predators away was quietly building the organ that would end them. Here's the strange part. Humans are a genuinely bad sprinting animal. A cheetah-era predator could close the gap on you in 3 seconds flat. You'd never see it coming, and you'd never outrun it. But sprinting was never the fight we were built to win. Humans have something almost no other large mammal has: the ability to dump heat efficiently through sweat while moving, combined with a stride that's absurdly cheap on energy over long distances. It's called persistence hunting, and it's less a hunting technique than a slow-motion execution. You don't chase the animal, you pressure it. A jog, not a sprint. It bolts, it rests to cool down, you close the distance again before it fully recovers. Over hours, sometimes most of a day, its body temperature climbs past what it can survive while moving. It collapses from heat stroke. You were never faster, you were just harder to exhaust. This single strange trait, endurance over raw speed, turned humans from prey animals who ran from danger into hunters who could outsuffer anything on 4 legs. This is the part predators never develop, and it's the real reason they're gone and we're not. At Dmanisi in the Republic of Georgia, archaeologists uncovered a skull nearly 1.8 million years old, belonging to an elderly individual who had lost almost every tooth years before death. No teeth means no chewing. No chewing in that world should mean starvation within weeks. He didn't starve. Someone kept him fed. Food softened, mashed, or pre-chewed for him for years. At Shanidar Cave in Iraq, a Neanderthal skeleton nicknamed Shanidar 1 tells the same story on a larger scale. A withered arm, blindness in one eye, hearing loss, and evidence he lived for years, maybe decades, after injuries that should have killed him immediately in the wild. His group carried him, fed him, kept him alive long after he stopped being useful by any predator's logic. No lion does this. No wolf pack does this. In nature, weakness means removal. In early human bands, weakness meant the group closed ranks around you. That instinct, protect the injured, feed the toothless, remember the old, wasn't just kindness, it was a weapon. It meant knowledge never died with the body that carried it. The oldest hunter's 40 years of tracking experience didn't vanish the day he broke his leg. It got passed down instead. Combine that with coordinated hunting, driving prey toward cliffs, ambush line, thrown spears launched from 30 feet away, far outside the reach of any claw, and you get something no predator on Earth had ever faced: an animal that was weak alone and unbeatable together. Then the roles flipped. Around 50,000 years ago, humans began pushing into every corner of the planet: Europe, Asia, the Americas, Australia, and in each place on a timeline too consistent to be coincidence, the great predators started disappearing. Saber-toothed cat, gone roughly 10,000 years ago. American lion, gone around 13,000 years ago. Short-faced bears, giant hyenas, marsupial lions, all vanished within a few thousand years of human arrival. Scientists still debate exactly how much of this was climate and how much was us. Pattern holds on nearly every continent. Humans arrive, and within a geological blink, the apex predators are gone. The hunted became the reason the hunters no longer exist. Every predator that stalked us had one advantage, hard-coded by evolution: speed, strength, night vision, raw power. We had none of them. What we had instead was the ability to build an advantage, to make fire when we had no fur, to outlast when we couldn't outrun, and to carry each other when the body alone wasn't enough. That's not a footnote in evolution. That's the whole story. We didn't survive the age of monsters because we were strong. We survived because we were never really alone.